Hello, everybody, and welcome. Here we are, Thursday again. And I'm super happy to have you all here with us today. I want to welcome those of you that are joining us live, as well as those of you that are going to catch the replay. So, we have a great topic here for you today. I like to mix it up. And so, today is really more of a clinical topic and one that I love. I'm super excited to welcome Kylie. So, Kylie, would you like to say hello?
Hi, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in or listening later. It's so nice to be here.
Awesome. Yeah. So today we are going to be talking about gut testing for
Mm-hmm.
gut health,
Yes.
which is right, such a good topic. And Kylie is truly an expert in this area. So specifically, we're going to touch on how functional testing can jumpstart your GI healing process. And we're going to be talking, of course, about testing options and
Mm.
all that good juicy stuff, right, in terms of protocols. So, for those of you that don't know me, welcome. My name is Leslie Bytel, and I'm a business coach and mentor, and I work specifically with private practice practitioners. I work a lot with integrative and functional practitioners and dietitians, naturopathic doctors, etc. So I help you to overcome that sense of overwhelm when it comes to building a profitable practice so that you can get paid really well doing the work that you love. So that's a little bit about me. Let me give you just a quick summation in terms of what we're going to specifically dive into today. So, what you're going to learn today is why gut testing can jumpstart your gut healing process in by identifying those underlying root cause symptoms, right? So
Right.
really looking at the root cause, how functional gut testing provides a blueprint of the state of gut health and prevents that dreaded shot in the dark strategy.
Mm-hmm. We know it too well.
Exactly. And why there's no quick fix to healing the gut and or autoimmune disease, and how gut testing is ideally used in conjunction with diet and lifestyle. And honestly, that part is a non-negotiable. And
Yeah,
Kylie's
for
going
sure.
to talk more about that as well. So before we jump in, Kylie, would you like to share a little bit about, I'm really curious if you could share a little bit about, your background and specifically your journey, maybe just a little bit about how you came to specialize in this specific area of work.
Absolutely. So I'm a dietitian, kind of the boring stuff. I'm a dietitian. I'm an integrative and functional dietitian. I do gut health. I do autoimmune diseases, kind of specifically. That's the stuff that lights me up. That's the stuff, therefore, I'm the best at helping people do. And why? And I think for so many of us, we connect the most and care the most about experiences that we have also had. I
Mm,
can see in my clients the things that I saw in myself and the experience, and I'm still experiencing, to be honest. And so there's a deeper level of willingness to connect and ability to connect, just in that way that people who have shared experiences naturally have together. And so when I started deciding what I wanted to do, I thought I was going to do PT. I knew I wanted to be in some sort of health field. This was the perfect way for me to be able to use research and science, but also that really heart centered, one on one, intuitive, outside the box ability to think combo. And it's just been the best. It's been the best.
awesome. So you became a dietitian. It's interesting. I never knew that about you.
Yeah.
Looking into or potentially, interested in moving into physical therapy. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, you're a dancer, right?
I'm a dancer. I grew up being I grew up on a competitive dance team,
Yeah,
and even as an adult I still maintain some of it. Really, the soulful things, right, that we need.
that's right. The things that bring us joy. Yeah, and keep us in shape, right? Keep us healthy.
Absolutely.
Something
My
we
hips have never felt anything like it.
Okay, so you decided to become a dietitian. You got a master's degree,
I have a
right?
master's degree in nutrition. I have an integrative and functional credential separately from that.
Yeah. So what led you, tell us a little bit about your story in
Yeah.
terms of,
So
whatever you're willing to share. How,
absolutely.
how you decided to move into this specific niche, because clearly you're very passionate about helping people in this particular area, right? You're not a dietitian that is working with weight loss.
Nope.
Nope, you don't do that.
No,
Not, it's just not what you do. So tell
it's
us
not
about,
what I do.
yeah, just tell us about that, because my hunch is that um, a lot of the people in our audience today, I'm guessing many are actually. I'd love. Why don't you do me a favor, everybody? Give me a quick comment in the comment section. Let me know what you do and what your area of specialization is, or if you're more general, that would be super helpful. So tell us a little bit about how you moved into this space.
So I think I have my story, just like everybody has that moment where you're like, oh, wow, this is going to go one of two ways. I really have to decide here.
Yeah.
I remember I was a stressful couple of years. I had moved. I was with a new doctor in a new state, in a new city. And I was feeling dreadful. Like, couldn't walk up the
Ooh,
stairs, couldn't catch my breath, exhausted for no good reason, couldn't actually function if I wanted to work out. Nothing that I did, no amount of sleep was helpful. I remember going to my doctor and saying, I look like I'm 4 months pregnant.
oh my God.
She
That's
laughed at
horrible.
me. She laughed at me and she said, oh, honey, that's not what you look like when you're 4 months pregnant. I will never forget it. And it was,
Uh,
look, obviously, I'm not actually 4 months pregnant. The point is that I'm feeling uncomfortable. My clothes don't fit me. And it's not because I'm gaining weight. It's not because I'm living some drastically new, unhealthy habit. Something is wrong. And I'm coming to you and I'm trying to convey this to you, and you're dismissing me. And I remember that moment, and I went home and I did some research. I actually ordered my own testing, my own thyroid testing.
okay.
I brought it to her and I said, "Doesn't this look like Hashimoto's to you?" And she
Oh
said,
my
"That's
gosh.
technically what we would call Hashimoto's." So I remember, I'll never forget this, you guys. I was sitting in the office. I could picture where she was sitting in the room. She was typing on her computer. She didn't look at me once. I was bawling my eyes out because she was about to hand me a prescription unceremoniously. She
Like,
doesn't know anything about me. This is the second time she's ever seen me in her life. New place, new doctor. She doesn't know me at all. Here you go. Here's the prescription. Nothing. Zero. No conversation about, oh, well, iron actually significantly impacts your thyroid. And you also happen to be anemic. That connection was never made. She never shared. And I don't need to go into all the nitty gritty. I'm positive that she was doing her best with what she
yeah,
had,
yeah,
but it wasn't adequate for me. It was not what I was looking for. It's not what I wanted. I didn't want somebody to hand me a piece of paper and say, on your way. I remember I threw it out in the trash can in the parking lot, because I was just like, this is not the answer. So I remember I canceled all of my plans for the night. I went home. I could picture in my house where I was sitting at the time under the window. And I just researched all night. And thankfully, what I found was that I was in the perfect field to be able to do something about this without having to depend on somebody else, without having to go through the rigmarole that so many of our clients go through, just trying to be heard, not even getting an answer, but just having somebody tell them, I get you. I
mm,
get you. I hear you. I want you to be here and I want to help you. Tell me more.
right,
Let me see if I can connect some of your experiences with some potential action that you can take and feel good about. What do you feel good about? What are you comfortable doing?
right.
Where are your non-negotiables? None of this stuff mattered because you're in and out, you're in and out, you're in and out.
Yep.
And so that's what really, when I started healing my own stuff, and eventually, not to mislead anybody, I needed to get the right person on board to hold my hand, to support me, to help me. I tried to be my own person for a long time. I do not recommend. Do not recommend.
Kind of like
Get your people.
your own doctor, your own, I don't know,
Coach, your own
coach.
support. You can't do
Right.
it.
I
Forget
mean,
it.
it's really hard. And your own copywriter, like I can think of a
Oh,
lot of examples. It just doesn't work very well, right?
hire out. Hire out.
I know we're both fans of that. So,
Exactly.
yeah, like absolutely. So basically it sounds like, and how old were you when this happened? Were you already
Oh gosh. I
already
was already, yeah, I was working at a clinical job in the hospital. So before I opened my private practice, but just barely. It
okay?
was just a few months later where I was like,
Okay.
done. I'm doing this.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right. So you ended up healing your thyroid, right?
I did. I did. And there were several things that needed to
You had the
happen.
diagnosis Hashimoto's. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And then what I ended up being able to find out through functional gut testing, in part, right? This is a piece of the puzzle. There's a lot of pieces. The
Mhm.
gut testing that I want to talk about today and share about my story was a huge chunk of it. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean, very much to your point, that the lifestyle stuff and sometimes medication for people and the food, huge. It all has to happen together though. It all has to happen together.
Okay.
And for
Yeah.
me, the gut testing was such a huge thing that showed me the why. Because to me, I refused to accept, oh, this is just what thyroids do. They just magically started, your body just magically starts attacking itself. It's normal. What are you talking about? Like, in what planet do you think you're going to talk to a rational human being and tell me that that's okay? It was mind blowing. And
Wow.
I wasn't willing to accept that answer. And so when I did my stool testing, multiple times, multiple different things, right? This was not a one shot thing, but
Yeah.
it ended up pointing me in the direction of like, this is what's going on that's causing these things to be produced, that's causing, because of your unique makeup and your unique variables, this is how you've ended up here.
Okay. So interesting. So you got the
Mm-hmm.
diagnosis,
Mm-hmm.
Hashimoto's, and you were handed a prescription that you threw in the garbage. You're
But
like,
forget it.
I'm not doing it.
Not
There
doing
has
it.
to be a better way. I love that. That is so powerful. And my guess is that your clients, that story really resonates for them,
I
right?
think
Because you've been through it.
it does. And I am probably tons of people listening to this who are like, oh, I didn't know I didn't know I had that option. I thought I just had to take the prescription. Oh, interesting. What should I do? You
Yeah,
know,
right.
it is. It's because it is the most common thing. And I'm not bashing my doctor or other doctors. I genuinely think that she was trying to do the best thing.
Yeah,
It just wasn't my best thing.
right. The best thing with what the tools they have, because they really,
Right.
not everyone, like everyone's different, but many, that is the main thing in their toolbox, right? The
Yeah.
prescription pad.
Sure.
And,
Yeah.
just thinking about like how much time some practitioners have, especially, doctors in the, the regular, mainstream medical model, it's kind of really fast and they just don't have the training.
It's
Um,
just not set up to be conducive to thinking about the why. And also, most doctors are not trained in nutrition. They don't have the information to share with you.
right,
So at a certain point, you really have to start thinking, am I going to keep trying to get blood from a stone? It doesn't make sense. You have to go to the people who have the information, who are trained in the way that you want to be cared for. That's what ultimately I was deciding to do. Like, I can't keep being angry about the same thing.
right.
I need to go somewhere different and choose to get care in a way that I want it. And it exists. I think that's maybe the really big win here. It exists. It's totally available.
Absolutely. So I'm looking at some of our comments, and so we've got a variety of different areas. So we have CNS, and I don't know who you are because it just says Facebook user, but CNS and oncology, which is awesome. Hey, Jacqueline, a chiropractor,
Cool.
lifestyle medicine, which is amazing.
Oh, amazing.
Melanie, general nutrition coach who teaches Zumba. Never,
Yeah.
never done Zumba, but I hear
Oh,
great things about it. And then PCOS, functional nutrition. And oh, wow, we've got a lot of comments. Great, guys. This is so fun. One-on-one counseling as a dietitian specializing in gut health. Awesome. And this
might
is,
have her own story.
yeah, most likely. And we have Eileen. Hey, Eileen.
Hi, Eileen.
You know, Eileen. Food sensitivities and allergies. And I know Eileen integrates a lot of unique therapies into what she does. Hey, Dorothy. And Dorothy does weight management. So Dorothy needs help knowing how to have a SIBO test ordered. Okay. Yeah, super interesting. So like our clients are very complicated, right? So like you bring up a great point, Dorothy, and that is, okay, so Dorothy specializes in weight management, but people are complicated and often they come to us with comorbidities that, ideally we would be able to help them with. And then we've got Anna, who's a dietitian. Oh, good. Welcome.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so great.
Just started your private practice. Okay, so we have a nice mix. Oh, wait, did I miss somebody? Okay, medical, let's see, CKD, GI issues, weight management, so all kinds.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah,
That's so great.
Great. So welcome everybody. I'm so psyched that you're all here. This is so exciting. All right, so I think we got to jump into the nitty gritty.
Okay.
So let's do it. So let's start talking about first of all, what kind of issues do your clients come to you with? So like, what are the main complaints that they come with?
Bloating, huge, because it's one of the most uncomfortable. When you can't put your pants on in the morning, or you've got those high-waisted pants that are cutting in because it's just uncomfortable, almost like fluid or air. People can only tell it. We're only human, people. We're only human. So bloating, constipation, diarrhea, sometimes a combination of both. I actually have a lot of joint pain.
Okay.
Brain fog, headache, migraine sort of things. A lot of people complaining of undigested food in their stool.
Okay.
Just pain and discomfort in general, a feeling of things being stuck as it should be sort of moving through the digestive system.
Yeah.
And heartburn.
Huge. Okay.
Huge.
What percentage of your clients complain of heartburn? I'm just curious.
Oh God, I would say probably 90%, a healthy 90%. Truly, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, okay. And probably about half of them are on some sort of PPI medication when they come in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So do they come to you because they're wanting to get off of their meds? Like what prompts them? Like what's kind of the last straw for people where they're like, I can't do this anymore. I got to figure it out. Are they sick of the meds? Are they breaking through?
The meds are not helping.
Okay.
The diets are not helping.
Okay.
The supplements are not helping. The symptoms persist. The symptoms get worse. There's such a huge level of frustration and hopelessness. I think that's really what starts to get people. And I'm the end of the line. Like nobody is thinking, oh, I've got bloating, I'm going to call a dietitian. They go through their PCP. They maybe go to a gut health person, maybe a rheumatologist. It's like all of these things. And then it's me. So I'm like most of us, whoever else is in gut health here, with the Hail Mary pass, it's like, hopefully we can be the person for them. And so often, of course, we are, because we're looking at something more. We're
Yeah.
looking at them as an individual. What do you bring to the table? What are your variables? What have you been doing? What can we really work with? You know?
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of different things, but they're at the end of the line basically. It's like you're their last hope, which I
Hopeless.
know I wish we all wish it weren't that way. I mean, I'm glad at the end of the day they're getting help, but gosh, it would have saved them so much angst.
Thousands.
They moved you up on the list of to-dos, right?
Totally. Yep.
So I don't know.
Years. I mean, for some people, decades.
Wow.
Decades of trying to figure it out. Or more interestingly, not trying to figure it out because they didn't realize it was a problem. They don't
Oh,
understand that this is something that they don't have to feel because they're told, oh, you have IBS, so sorry. It's just the way it is. It's like,
oh,
you have blue eyes, oh, well, you just have to deal with it.
right.
Like, it's just
Yeah, right,
mind
right.
blowing. Yeah.
That's crazy. So, okay, so you get a lot of people coming to you kind of at the end of the rope. So,
Mm.
what do you do testing on all of your clients? Like, tell us a little bit about how you integrate that into your protocol.
So, to be very clear, I do testing on all of my clients, but that is because I only take GI autoimmune disease clients.
Yeah,
So if they're not a good fit for that kind of thing, I gratefully refer them out. So yeah, I do. I want to say too, you don't have to be feeling GI symptoms to be an appropriate candidate for
okay,
testing your gut. You don't. There's so much that you can learn. Perhaps you just want to totally optimize. Maybe
right,
you just want to actually understand I've been eating this way and I think I feel pretty good, but like, let's get some data and really understand. Perhaps there's some small tweak I can integrate into my routine that'll make my experience even better. So
right.
that's worth saying. Also, mood, ADD, ADHD. I've had a lot of people inadvertently choose to come off of their um, anxiety and depression medications, which is not at my recommendation. It's at their choice and their conversations with their doctors. But
Right.
they find that when they fix the imbalances in their gut, it doesn't stop in the gut. It permeates every single part of their life, every single part, relationships, work, friendships, their children. It's wild. It's magical. It really is.
Yeah, well, the gut is connected to everything,
Everything.
which is so interesting. I mean, back in the day, excuse me, the gut was just a tube.
Just to see, just the gut, no big deal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all right, so I don't know what having a little coughing attack live.
Yes. How convenient.
The things that happen live, guys. Never a dull moment. So far, the dogs are behaving. They're not, they've given up
Not chasing a squirrel.
they've given up on looking out the window, thank God. Squirrels or the kids or the people. So, all right. So, all right, so why don't you walk us through how you help these people, right? These folks that come into you, they're at the end of their rope, they're really frustrated, they're the right fit client for you.
Yeah.
They are, ideal clients. So, can you kind of walk us through your process?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I'm working with my clients, I go through the protocol that I developed. So it's just Strata protocol.
Yeah.
And we go through identification, implementation, and maintenance. So more friendly, figuring out what the heck is in the way, what needs to be removed, what needs to be brought back in, or what just needs to be rebalanced or tweaked a little bit. Like,
Okay.
where are you now? That analogy, I think, is so important. If you think about looking at the remember when we used to go to the mall and there was like a map of where you wanted to go, you'd find your store, right? And you don't, you know where you want to go. All of my clients, they know where they want to go.
Yeah.
They understand where they want to be. The problem is they don't know how to get there because they don't know where they are. So that first piece of identifying is so huge. That's where so much of the testing comes in.
Okay.
So get an idea of what foods are causing problems for you now, what food is not causing a problem for you now. Let's focus on all the things that are not a part of the problem so we can create a little space, get the inflammation down.
Okay.
Where are your nutrients in all of this?
Right. So
Mhm.
that data is extracted through the test. It's not through like diet recall and kind of tracking their reactions. It's specifically through the testing.
I'm going to say it's both,
Okay.
actually. So the testing is the framework for the pieces that remain unknown. But if the test tells me, oh, you don't actually have a problem with eggs, but
Mhm.
you tell me that you feel nauseous every time you eat an egg, guess what? Eggs are out. Like, I don't need a test to tell me that
Right.
you don't feel good. You matter. And that is just the perfect example of
Okay.
how this is really
So
different.
it's an art and a science.
It
It's
is. It has to be.
yeah, you can't just look at one piece of data and create the whole plan based on that. It really is, it's a combination, which
You have
is
to be human. You have
okay.
to be human and you have to treat the person.
So the person comes in, you first do testing,
Yeah.
you get that data back, you do their history,
Yeah.
all those preliminary elements that you integrate into your protocol. So you get the data, you sit down, and by the way, what tests? I'll bet people out
Mm.
know, like what are the
So
tests that you use?
I love using, so I use the MRT test, Leap MRT, and people may have heard of that. And then I do, right now I'm loving the gut zoomer test from Vibrant. I have used GI Map in the past as well. I think, they both have pluses and minuses. I'm just happen to be on a gut zoomer kick right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really nice because it gives the details that allow me to connect dots for people.
Okay.
That's what the point is. That's what that intervention phase is all about. The
Mhm.
hand holding, the informed action. Because let's be honest, a lot of what we ask our clients to do, until it's habit and until they're on board with it truly because it's just their new normal, it's a real pain in the butt. Like,
Yeah,
they're very inconvenienced. They really don't want to be learning about a gluten-free diet, let alone having to implement one. They
right.
want to do the things that feel easy and familiar to them.
Yeah.
So when you're asking somebody to do something that's kind of a pain to them
Yeah.
and you don't have anything to back it up, you're just doing a different version of what they can do on their own. So when I can hand somebody a test and say, hey, look, this is what happens when gluten is in your body. So I know we threw around the idea of a gluten-free diet, but this is your proof. Do you see this? This is what's happening. Do you want to change this? Here you
Oh,
go.
so awesome. So you tie in those like teaching moments into those test results. And
Exactly.
that gives
And
them
it's,
the why, right?
yes, they need,
Make sustainable change without a big why. I just don't think I mean, you
it's
might be able
not
to do it
possible.
for a day or a couple days, but I don't think you're gonna be able to do it over the long haul unless you're really super clear on your big why, right?
I agree. Here's the thing. I'm not the kind of person who's ever going to do something because my doctor says I should, or
Mhm.
because somebody, I don't care, a doctor, anybody, just because they say I should. I
Yeah,
want to know why. And if you tell me why, I'll be your best patient. And so I take a very similar approach when I'm dealing with how I'm going to teach. I want you to understand why I'm suggesting this exact intervention. And if you don't understand, then I haven't done my job. And you need to ask, and I'll do a better job. Because otherwise, I can't expect you to follow through. I don't. I don't
right.
expect it.
Exactly. I think that's a huge takeaway for all of us
You,
as a reminder on if we just explain why, whatever we're teaching is going to be so much more powerful. So we have
huge.
a question from, hey, Sarah, how are you? So Sarah, if you could reiterate the test that you use.
Yeah. So I'm using Gut Zoomer right now
Hmm.
from Vibrant America.
Primary.
Yeah. I love it. I've really been loving it. Yeah.
Okay. So gut zoomer, and is that the, like, do you have to pick which zoomer? I vaguely remember, I know I have an account. I have an account with all these. You know, of course I have to, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I remember when we moved recently, I think it was Vibrant. I had like, oh my God, like 20 test kits, that I had to
Oh
figure out
my
what to do
God.
with, right? So,
I've had that in a move
yeah.
before. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so, but can you just kind of refresh my memory on, like, do you have to pick which Zoomer, or is it like a test, like a stool test that tests for a whole bunch of things?
Yeah. I know what you're saying. So
Okay.
Vibrant has several different food Zoomers.
Okay.
So if you wanted to test something food related, you would have to pick each individual Zoomer. But
Okay.
for the gut Zoomer, that is their stool sample test. So it's
Okay.
just that one. That's it.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. I know
cool.
what you mean though.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So, okay. So it's a pretty comprehensive stool test then.
Extraordinary.
And it and
Yes.
it and it compares it's comparable to GI map, but like you said, there's pros and cons, and probably either one would do the trick.
Yeah, they use different technologies, neither of which I understand well enough to be able to
Yeah.
explain the differences. And some of them test for a few a little bit more in this section, a little less in that section.
Okay.
So
So, I don't know if you can go into detail in terms of.
yeah, Sarah, I can totally try to. And also to be clear, like I'm not neither of these companies are behind me at all. So I can speak freely
Yeah,
as much as I can.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
I know that Gut Zoomer tests more in terms of, I believe they have more pathogens that they test.
Okay.
They test and they break out the short chain fatty acids, which
Oh,
I love. I
okay.
love because it's such an important, cool thing to be able to target and show people, hey, hello, this is why I need you to get more variety of fibers in your diet. Do you see how crazy this is?
Yeah.
I know that GI Map has had a little bit of potential, I don't know if I should say controversy, unknown surrounding their H. pylori results, simply because I think there was a lot of questioning around were those readings over reported? I had a lot of positive H. pylori tests when I was running GI Map, and
Oh,
none, zero since running gut
oh,
soup. So
interesting.
I don't know if I
Okay.
just genuinely don't have people, or if it's not getting picked up, or if it was getting picked up too much. It's
Okay.
difficult to say. It's difficult to say.
Okay. So that was a little bit of a concern, is perhaps.
Yeah, or a potential concern. It's like kind of confusing. I don't really. I think the cool thing would be to run several different types of tests on the same person at the same time and compare them.
Yeah.
If anybody feels like being a guinea pig, I might do
Exactly.
it on myself, honestly.
I love doing all these on myself or my family. My poor
You?
family,
Oh my god.
you know?
Oh.
Not that one, though. Like,
Yeah.
that's when they draw the line. They're
You
like,
would have to help her.
"Yeah, that's not gonna happen." So, just to be clear, there's there is a line. That will not
We
be
flirt
crossed.
with it, but we will not pass it.
If I could, I would, but yeah, not gonna happen, 2 college kids, no.
No.
So all right, so that was helpful. Okay, so yeah, how do you instruct the patients on the collection part?
This is exactly what I said.
Right?
It's as straightforward as it gets. The instructions are very clear. Have at it. I mean, it's very clear. And some
Right?
of them do say, like, oh, okay, gotta like pump myself up for this. But a lot of them are mothers, and it's kind of like they do it all day long anyway, and it's no big deal.
Right.
It's definitely not like, I don't paint it as something to look forward to, but nobody's caught off guard. They all know that that's what they're getting when they say yes. So it's just a part of the process.
It's just Part of the
It
deal?
just is.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. All right. So, okay. Hey, Drew, how are you? So, Drew is in our collective mastermind with Kylie and
Hi,
myself,
Drew.
and a few other rock star dietitians and nutritionists. So, all right. So, Kylie, or Drew wants to know if Kylie's used Great Plains, the GI test from Great Plains.
I
I
have
did not
not.
I did not know they had a stool test. Is that what you're
I
referring to, Drew?
I didn't know this. I don't. Did I know?
I've used some of their tests. I think I personally have done like their mycotoxin test and their
Oh,
what else have I done? Couple others. Organic,
I
I
have
think they're
not.
organic acids. They have an organic acids test. They
I've
actually
heard
have
amazing things.
about that company.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, that might actually. Oh, I might be incorrect about this, but that might be a company that you can order a SIBO test through.
Oh yeah, because someone had a
I'm
question.
not sure though. What I do for SIBO is I just say request from your doctor to get a SIBO test. It's been very successful.
Oh really? Okay, so
Yeah.
it's a thing now. It's a recognized diagnosis.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean,
Okay.
sometimes it is, but sometimes they have to do a little convincing.
Okay. Okay, so you can go and get a SIBO test at like Quest or like a convention.
Um, lately, as of recently, they've been sending it home with people because it's just a breath test. So they just take it home and it takes about 3 hours.
Okay.
So they don't want them with COVID and everything being in the hospital.
Okay.
So they send it to the house, you do it at home, send it
Okay.
back in. Pretty simple.
Now, are they testing for different types of SIBO?
Ideally.
A little
Right.
bit about that. Give us like high level.
Yeah. So, I mean, methane and hydrogen dominant, you want to know both. Uh, Even when you request both from a doctor, to your client, they're requesting it from the doctor. There's just so many steps in between, right?
Mhm.
Whether they don't care or they don't know or it gets lost in translation, I oftentimes have just one or the other being ordered, which it is what it is. Sometimes the only purpose for doing the testing is so that if the patient is open to antibiotics as an option, they'd have access to it. I obviously can't do that, but if
Right.
it's what they would prefer to do and want to do, their doctor is going to require a test to be able to
Oh,
prescribe.
okay.
So sometimes that's helpful. Also, sometimes it's so nice to be able to say, cross it off the list. That's not the problem. Let's move on.
Okay. Good.
Really nice.
Okay. So Dorothy, does that help? If Dorothy's still here? Because I think Dorothy had a question about
That's
that.
what it was.
Or
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So Dorothy, let us know in the comments if you need more info on that. So yeah, so SIBO is definitely it's just become so common. I gotta say, when I had my practice, it was just becoming a thing. I'm sure it was a thing way before that, but
Sure.
it really like I remember going to I do remember Kathy Swift.
Yes.
I went, yeah, so she was the kind of the SIBO expert, and I
Yes.
remember going to a talk. It was probably at Fancy, like years and
Yes.
years ago. I don't know, a really long time ago. And I was like, what? What? Like, what? What is this
Yeah.
thing? Right. And I never really, I mean, maybe I saw it, but I never really touched it. Right.
Yeah. I
I
do.
think
I
it's
know what you
pretty
mean.
prevalent now. Okay, so Dorothy, okay. So Genova is the company that won't let us order. Okay, okay. And
Oh, Rupa.
so yeah, I do want to talk to you guys about Rupa. And Abby, if you're watching, if you could post in the comments the link for Rupa. So guys, Rupa Health, oh my gosh, it's a brilliant idea. This is a company that where you can order your testing. And it's kind of like a one-stop shop, right? And what's super cool is you just go online, you order the test for your patient or client, and actually, Abby, oh, it's kind of a long. link here. But anyway, just if you look in the comments, you'll see Abby Payne posted the link. Highly recommend. It is a huge time saver. And the really cool thing is you do not have to go on all these different portals to extract your patient's results. It's all in one place. So just think about that in terms of time savings. And the other thing is they drop ship the test to the patient and they arrange for the blood draw if you need blood. Like to me, it's a no-brainer. Because when I can just say when I had my practice, the whole process of ordering tests was honestly, it was
A full-time job.
it was a deterrent for me. I was like, I don't even know if this is worth it. It's such a pain to, to order these tests. It was a deterrent. Like I would just try to avoid it, which, wasn't always the best thing, but it was just like, oh my God, it's so time consuming and, just it was hard. So this
I'm
really,
trying to get on board.
yeah. Yeah. They've got all the tests. I don't think so. So Dorothy, oh, right. Okay. So Eileen, Roop is so great, but unfortunately they can't order. So
Oh, New
Genova,
York.
well, first of all, New York is tough and Genova is kind of tough too, right? Like even in
Really use
Illinois,
Genova.
we do not order Genova tests. So I don't think that I don't think there's a way around that. Although Eileen, you're in California, so but it's where the patient lives, right? It's not
Mhm.
necessarily okay.
It's
Okay,
where they have to ship to.
got it. Because Eileen is in
Bummer.
California, so
Mhm.
but for her, yeah, okay. So I think someone had asked, what's the workaround for New York, and I don't know if there is one, quite honestly, other than
They go to New Jersey and
yeah,
get their blood work done.
okay,
That's what people I've worked with in New York in the past have. No, I'll just take the train, or they go to a family member's house for the weekend and get blood work while they're there, and or often I've had to send the test to a family member's house before, where
yeah,
he wasn't in New York.
okay. So someone asked, is Rupa Health different than direct labs? And I don't know this other one.
I don't know those either. I haven't used any of them, to be honest with you. So I
Um,
don't know either.
okay, so I don't know. I've heard of direct labs. I've never heard of the second one. I don't know what they offer. I think direct labs, I could be wrong, but this is based on memory, a long time ago. I think this is where patients can go online and order lab tests without a prescription, right? Without an order from the doctor. I would say the thing to look at is what they're offering. So Rupa Health, they specifically specialize in these functional tests, right? I don't think they are really doing conventional testing.
Mhm.
It's the gut health tests, it's, all these other types of functional tests. So I would look into that. So that's their specialization. So I think that's the big difference. Um, okay, let's see. Yeah, okay. So someone said, yep, that's correct. You don't need an MD order to order those labs.
That's
Okay.
good to know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and Genova can ship to New Jersey, which is super interesting. I don't know why. I mean, I've worked with, I was in Illinois. I could never order through Genova unless I had a doctor, including, I think, a chiropractic doctor could order, I could order under him or her, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but I never had that arrangement. And honestly, I don't know, I feel like there's plenty of options available now where honestly I don't really feel like it's that big of a deal not to be able to order from Genova.
It's a shame for them.
It is. I have heard that the Nutrival, now you're probably familiar with that, right, Kylie? Having
I've
gone,
never ordered from Genova, so I've heard of the test, but I've never used it.
yeah. So I hear really good things about that test. And I think that is an organic acids test, I'm pretty sure. and I
Okay.
hear great things about that. So,
Yeah.
but other companies order have organic acids, including
Totally. Vibrant has one.
Vibrant.
Again, I'm not like plugging Vibrant.
Right,
I mean, I love them.
yeah,
I'm not plugging them, but
I think Great Plains also has
yes,
an
I've
organic
heard of that from
test.
Great Plains. Yeah.
And I did that one myself, and that was pretty interesting. So, yeah, awesome. So definitely check out Rupa Health if you haven't already done so. It is free. And I'll tell you, if I was still working directly with clients and ordering these tests, I don't see any downside. It
I'm
is,
gonna have to do it.
it just absolutely saves time. And time is money, guys. Like if you add up the amount of time you are spending messing around with lab tests, honestly, just from a business standpoint, it just doesn't make sense, right? Like because it's not a revenue producing type of activity, and you can
Or
hand it
even, yeah, even if you're paying your VA hourly, if it takes longer to do,
right.
it's equally not ideal.
Exactly. That's really true too. Okay, so someone just checked and ultra lab tests. Oh,
Oh.
wow. Oh my God. Okay. So might be a little cost prohibitive, right?
Wow.
Up there? Wow, crazy. Okay, good to know. Well, so interesting. It looks like they do some functional tests, but um, yeah, probably
Wow.
not going to be a hit with your clients, right? To ask them to pay an extra 1,000. That's going to be a tough one.
It's kind of comical.
I know. What are they thinking? Okay. So, all right. So basically, let's see. Um, So, aside from the gut testing, which we've talked a lot about, what else is essential in ensuring your client success, Kylie?
So at this point, it starts to become a case by case scenario.
Yeah.
One thing that I find myself often feeling is important is getting a mycotoxin, environmental toxin, heavy metal test.
Okay.
Vibrant, again, I'm not, it's just who I happen to be using right now. They have a bundle, Total Tox, that they use, and it gets all three of those.
Oh,
I
nice.
am
So
telling you,
environmental, uh,
heavy metals,
environmental. So the environmental is that like the mycotoxins? So basically looking for mold.
separate. Those are two separate panels. So
Oh,
they run three panels: a
okay.
heavy metals, a environmental toxins, plastics, pesticides, things like that,
Uh-huh.
and separately they do the mycotoxin.
Oh, wow.
Especially when I have people, younger people too, with joint pain.
Okay.
And one of the things that I look for too when I get a gut test back, if they're not digesting their fats very well, if they have a lot of inflammation,
Mhm.
if there's something where maybe their secretory IgA is super high, but we didn't pick up any pathogens, and we're
Okay.
not seeing anything on that test that's like, oh, your body is fighting this. That is also like, maybe we didn't pick something up because we're not running it. Anytime I feel like the liver might be implicated and the toxin or detox systems might need a little support, I
Mhm.
tend to think, what else might be clogging that system? I mean,
Okay.
environmental toxins. I mean, you have to look at their medications and their lifestyle. All of that goes into it as well. But you're not going to know if you were exposed to mold unless you know you were exposed to mold, in which case you're often just asking for the testing. That's not true. Sometimes people don't realize that they can't clear it. So,
Oh gosh. Oh, I mean,
dude,
I have a lot to say about that topic,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Oh no.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Oh, I could write a book, like a really long book.
Oh,
Right.
really?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I had mold
Oh,
um
oh.
for like 20 years. Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. Um, I mean, most houses are moldy in some way, shape, or form, right?
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, yeah. Like I literally was that person. I went to doctor to doctor to doctor saying, I know something's not right. Like, how can I possibly have like be coming down with a cold like every week, or twice a week? Yeah, for real. Um, oh my God, like night sweats when I was like
Oh,
25. How do you explain that?
what?
Yeah, for real.
See, that's what I mean. When I get people like that, I'm like, we need to see what's going on in the gut, but we also need to see, like, it's all connected, right? Just in the beginning, like when I said, when you heal the gut, heal the gut. When you start addressing things going on in the gut, it
Yeah,
doesn't just stop there. It bleeds and permeates into everything. And
yeah,
that works. That's true for most things when you're dealing with healing something.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so definitely, I think they say like a quarter of the population has the genetic makeup, and I actually don't. I'm actually not in that group. Like I'm not homozygous for this genetic thing, but I guess 25% of the population is. I'm just sensitive, right? So
Wow.
being gluten sensitive, but not having, celiac.
Celiac.
But
Yeah, I'm with you there.
yeah,
Yes.
that. Um, but yeah, it's super interesting. So like my antenna always goes up for like the mold and the mycotoxins, especially knowing that most houses in this country, they're just not built well. They do
Or
crazy.
they're old. I mean, I work with a lot of people in New England. I mean,
Right.
there are older homes that have been renovated and redone, but that doesn't mean anything,
Yeah.
Or they're by the ocean and they've had water damage
Oh,
and people don't even understand or know. Or, I mean, any of you who have a bunch of clients in Philly or New York or one of the cities and they're in apartment buildings,
oh, those are
you
terrible.
just don't even have a way to know. You can't possibly have a way to know unless
Right.
you test it.
Right.
You wouldn't think of that. And even so, if your apartment has it and you address it, the whole
Yeah,
building at that
you're
point,
kind of screwed if you're
you're
in an
screwed.
apartment. Like
Yeah.
yeah, there's no
The
good.
ventilation systems, it's just a mess.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really tough thing
It's
to
a
deal with.
challenge for people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm glad that you look at that. So really, I would like anyone that's just not getting better. If it were me, I would be suspicious
At
of.
least cross it off the list. If it comes back negative, fantastic. Cross it off the list. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So, okay, so what, I guess if as we wrap things up, Kylie, it's gone so fast. I could talk to you
I
all
know. I
day.
know.
What's one piece of advice that you wish everyone would take?
I would say, I think the one thing that I would say is that if you're struggling with gut stuff, I think it's just super important as a starting point to truly know and hold as truth that it doesn't have to be that way. I mean,
Mm,
it's shocking the amount of people that I get on the phone with, and they're like, "What? I don't understand what you're saying. I don't have, there's an option here. I was
yeah,
just looking to like feel mildly better, not zero symptoms."
okay.
And
Wow.
if you are like a practitioner and you're seeing clients, whether you deal with gut health or not, sharing that message with them and just really correcting the inaccuracy that they have been fed for some, like I said, sometimes decades,
Mhm.
is powerful. Because what that means is that they get to then retake the control. Oh, I didn't realize that there were things I could do. I wasn't doing anything about it before because I was told there was nothing to do. Well, now that I know that I don't have to feel that way, I'm going to start considering all of these possible things. And it might take a little while before they actually do the right thing or work with somebody who knows how to really help them. But man, it's so huge. It's a huge, huge disservice that people are getting, saying like, IBS, you got to deal with it. It's just
Right. Like
not
this is
true.
normal. Get used to it. This is your
And I also think that if you've been in one of these places where you've tried gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, keto, blah, blah, but you've tried all of the things and none of them have worked, I just also want to say it might not be because it's not working. It just might be that you need several variables to come together at the same time so that the whole system can support each thing that you're doing. I've had so many people say, but I've tried a gluten-free diet. That's not the problem. We do their testing. It's a huge problem. However, so are da 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 da. And you also need support here, da 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 da. And when we mesh it all together, it's a completely different experience. So just maybe being open to the reality that it might just be that the correct variables haven't been brought together. And that is what the testing is so beautiful about helping offer. It gives you so many of the variables. And it's not a magic wand. Like, let's be honest. It's not the only piece. It's never a straightforward path. It has to be, there has to be a willingness on all sides to kind of roll with the punches and make adjustments.
Right.
But it's a damn good starting point.
Yeah. And it gives you, it's the tool that allows you to look at these different variables, right?
That's right.
Otherwise, kind of
That's
going
exactly
back to
right.
our initial conversation, it's a shot in the dark, right?
Shot in the dark.
And
Shot in the dark.
that is incredibly frustrating for patients and clients. And it can be kind of demoralizing for you as the practitioner as well, right? Because the big fear I always hear about is, oh my God, what if? Like, what if I can't actually deliver, right? What if I can't deliver the results?
That's real.
Yeah, it is real. I mean, there's no guarantees, right? Like, you get brain surgery, there's no guarantees. Like, it just.
And that's the thing, too. Like, people, we as practitioners, we're so hard on ourselves, myself included, but nobody holds their doctors to those standards either. Doctors are wrong or don't provide value all the time. And we still go back, because I don't know what you do.
So, yeah, you do your best. But I definitely see where testing is such an integral component. It looks like, let's see. Okay, looks like we got another comment here.
Chronic digestion and gut issues. I've done all the testing, all the dietary changes, and never gotten to that. Oh, I'm so sorry. You know what? This is a really, really good point.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the reality that everybody gets 100% resolution. It's just not the case, especially if they're signing on to work with you for 3 months. That's not enough. Perfect example, 10 plus years. I mean, I think in that case, well, I mean, not your personal case, but I think in really chronic cases like that, you have to have a team of people all working together on different variables. I mean, just the same way that the gut stuff has to have different variables. When you're really looking at something chronic and long like that, the different modalities have to come in and work all at the same time. And having the right team, I think, is a huge win there. I'm so sorry that you've been struggling. Oh, that's just exhausting.
Call Kylie.
Yeah.
Seriously, which brings me to the next point, Kylie. How can people find out more? I mean, because there may be some of our audience that just, is struggling themselves. Maybe they have family members, or maybe they just, want to learn more. So how can they? Actually, I know your website. So
yes,
is it
Strata Nutrition? StrataNutrition.com. So the name of my practice is Strata Nutrition, named so because there are so many layers that go into all of our decisions. Exactly what we've been saying. And so yeah, that's me. That's where you can learn about me. If you do not do gut health and you like to refer out, that would be a place worth sending people to if you felt like after this conversation it would be a good match, knowing who you're working with. I have a new gut testing package that I've just designed, speaking to a lot of people who are not willing and wanting to do 3 or 6 months of work together, but just want a kind of general starting point,
Mhm.
and offering them a one-on-one session to review their stool sample results, get some history, and help them get on the right starting point, get
Mhm.
started on the right path. So that ends at the end of November. That closes at the end of November, and I'll circle back to it in the new year at some point. But a cool middle ground for people who are just like, almost like, I need to be convinced that this is worth it,
Yeah.
and then maybe I can take it seriously. And I think that's fair. So there's something there for those folks.
Okay, that's incredible. Okay, so stratanutrition.com, everybody. Check Kylie out. She does amazing work. I've known Kylie for quite a long time now, right? So
Yeah, it's been a while now. It's
I
been
can attest
wonderful.
to, her quality of work. So, I mean, honestly, if I had a family member, well, let's say who is willing, caveat, I do have a family member that needs your help, but the person,
Not really.
not naming any names, is just not like it's a person that thinks there's no problem, right?
Uh,
Even though there's a definite problem. But anyway,
mm-hmm.
if I had a family member that was willing to do the work, I would definitely send them to Kylie. So
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. It's really
absolutely. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. Thank you so
sounds great.
much, Kylie, for
Leslie, thank you. Thanks for letting me come and chat. I had a blast.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Yeah.
Such a great topic. We had awesome questions. So thanks to everyone in our audience for, really making this interactive and fun. I learned a ton. I'm sure you all did as well. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, an awesome weekend, and I'll look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.